Hello everybody, and welcome to the Paracinema screening of Spookies. This is a little unusual, as you know. The Derby Film Festival is now doing everything streamed online, so we're doing this digitally, and we decided ourselves to be our digital hosts for this. My name is Johann Chipol. I'm the host and creator of the Trash Tapes podcast, where we dedicate 100% of our time to watching terrible movies, hence why the Quad has picked us for this. And I'm not joined entirely on my own. I'm also joined by my co-host, my friend, and my DJ, Edward Harvey. Say hi there.
Hey, Johan. Hey, guys. I'm looking forward to the screening.
Yeah, this is going to be very weird and unusual. But to be honest, this movie was already weird and unusual. So actually doing it this way kind of makes sense.
Yeah, we've done a few of these now. This is our third one. Normally we would host it in the actual Quad Cinema. We've done Miami Connection and Troll 2, haven't we? So we've done those intros, and they're really fun to do. Just give the audience a little bit of an insight of what they're in for in these bad movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's so Spookies. It's a really, really interesting, weird movie. Do you want to talk a bit more about it, Johan? Interesting being the operative word here. So, what you're about to witness is Spookies. It's a 1986 horror movie of sorts, which has the most bizarre story when it comes to production value and in terms of how the production history was made. One of the things that you will notice is the really, really good, in some cases anyway, because some of it's terrible, but some of it surprisingly good gore effects and prosthetic stuff. Oh, definitely. Yeah, the Twisted Souls element of the film.
Yeah, because basically, this movie, you're not watching one film, you're technically watching two. Well, parts of two. It's the best example of a Frankenstein movie I've ever seen, and I'm not talking about a Frankenstein movie. This is the movie that's been spliced together with a very bizarre history. The movie originally started off as a movie called Twisted Souls, which was going to be done by this duo directing team that were already kicking things off on the short film circuit with these really B-movie gory movies. Now, this movie was going to be very different. It was going to be a full-blown haunted house movie where every room had a different monster in it. And it was going to be it was basically like Evil Dead, but bigger. That was their goal. But then things got a little weird. Everything with filming was fine, but the producer, who happened to be, at one point, close friends of theirs and everything else, decided to take the first draft of the edit that wasn't complete and was already 3 hours long to the studio to just confirm their cases, to say everything's going to be okay, we've made this movie. The studio hated it. But this was a version of the film that directors did not want ever to be seen. It was a first draft. So when they found out that their producer buddy did this, they were pissed. So mad, in fact, that they decided to take all of their film with them and take it. But because they signed a contract, it basically means that they didn't actually own the full rights to their own movie. They owned about 60% of it. So what the directors decided to do is take their 40% and took 40% of the movie with them. But they now have a movie they still need to sort out. They've got 60% of film. And so, they said, you know what? We are going to film the other 40% with a new director, new cast and crew, new everything, because they couldn't bring anybody back. So this is where Spookies properly evolved. And the funny thing is that this is the part where most people poke fun of. This is the funny part, and this is the part that, Ed, you're going to talk about it, is by far the weirder things, really.
Yeah, so the financial backer, he just got another director, didn't he? Just involved, Eugene Joseph, I think his name was.
Yes.
And basically, he just... The bits that he made to fill in the gaps have nothing to do with the Twisted Soul elements. You've got, a weird kind of storyline with, a little boy that's trying to like find his birthday party, and there's one of the most famous kind of bits of the movie that people quote a lot is like, "Happy birthday, Billy." And it's like, I won't spoil what that actually is because you've just got to check out the movie.
Yeah.
Really unusual. And you've got this weird cat man at one point that appears and basically just wants to like dig graves for people. And you've got another element as well, is a magician and like his dead kind of like wife or girlfriend that he wants to keep resurrecting.
And the bride doesn't want anything to do with it, because when she gets woken up, the first thing she responds to is looking at him saying, "No, I want to die. Why?" Terrible. Absolutely bizarre.
You've got zombies as well that they added as well. They have nothing to do with it. So when you're watching the movie, they are so different. They don't interlock at all. So it's kind of like two stories cutting back and forth. They're kind of like, it doesn't flow into each other. So it works for us as a bad movie podcast. Yeah. But in general, it doesn't work, if you know what I mean.
It is the weirdest part. It's because obviously they had to fill in the gap, and yet since they took out 40% of the movie, they said, right, we're gonna have to fill in this 40% with nothing, which was great because the cat person's apparently the only interlinking thing in the whole movie, by literally just filming him looking through doorways and through bushes, imagining that the cat person is in the original shot the whole time. But in this as well, they kept some of the fun elements from the original Twisted Souls movies, which is some of the really bizarre, gruesome, kind of fun and quirky visual effects. Some of the monsters still stay around, which you'll see a plethora of, but there's now no explanation as to why there is a haunted house full of monsters. They just shoehorned in the idea that there is an omnipotent magician who happens to be overseeing everything through a crystal ball. And it's one of those, and it's one of the episodes we did an episode on the podcast with the Horror Hangout guys, and that was hilarious to see them go through the torture like we do. It's nice to share the torture with other people, and so we're glad that we're able to show this to all of you. So sit back, relax. The Trash Tapes guys present to you Spookies. Enjoy.